I am working on finishing the series. The series is called Double Self-Portrait, and yeah, I've always loved Sargent and Whistler and Gainsborough, the 19th and 18th century society portraits, and how they depict, the elite class in these glamorous settings in their own way, and they sort of functioned as a social commentary on wealth too. And I realized that while reading the trashy magazines that I love to read, Us Weekly and whatever, Vanity Fair, that these red carpet photo op moments are our modern day society portraits. Not in the same sort of elite way, but in a more accessible, celebrity-driven way. So I really wanted to explore that as a modern interpretation of society, and in a similar way that they display wealth and display status through objects that we can discern are wealth objects. Like, we have a bag, the Dior bag that I've seen all over the place with a big D on it, or the dress that you can identify as being Prada or whatever, and the cell phones encrusted with diamonds, or whatever Paris Hilton. Photos are my primary source for the images in the paintings, but then I cull from a lot of different resources to create the entire staged event. For example, like these images, a friend of mine took just pictures of me at the Dior showroom. I was just trying on the dresses and with the wigs, and then I go in later and embellish things that I find interesting. The backgrounds are entirely invented, and I wanted to have these blonde wigs, and I wanted this long hair, this glamorous hair, but when I was painting them from the photos, they looked sort of fake, and I just couldn't get out of the idea that it's plastic hair, so I found this Lindsay Lohan portrait in Vanity Fair that I thought was, it's a real hair, it's like Bridget Bardot type hair, so I liked it, so I used it, and it doesn't look exactly the way my photos did, but it's more useful for me. I had these Nine West shoes. These are $20 freaking, crappy white bow shoes. They're really ugly. Obviously they'd never be worn on the red carpet with this gorgeous Dior dress, so I ended up going, and I found these Emmanuel Angara shoes. I don't even know what the fuck. I really liked being able to be a lot more abstract with the background in creating the corporate logo walls, because it was fun to be more abstract. It made me think of this piece that I just find hilarious and sticks in my mind. They did in terms of the fashion of it too. In Vogue in 1951 or 1953, I believe, they did an entire photo shoot of these women in these glamorous dresses in front of a Jackson Pollock painting, and it was hilarious because it took it out of the realm of what it was intended to be, which is this great abstract piece of art that stands on its own, and made it into a decorative background. I grew up in Oregon, on a farm in the country. My parents were total hippies, and I really wasn't exposed, not only not exposed, but sort of forbidden, I guess, to indulge in this sort of really commercial, really girly, really materialistic things that these represent for me. There was a time, sort of strange, that I was really interested in acting, and I took classes and everything, and I loved it. It's like make-believe, it's play and pretend. And when I became serious about being a painter, I sort of felt I had to pick between the two, and I couldn't really devote myself full-time to acting. And I realized that it wasn't, in terms of my life plans, it wasn't my calling in the same way that art is. But that was tough. That was tough to give that up, because I think part of what just is so exciting to me about acting maybe is the celebrity end of it. The means it's important to me, and I think I think acting is great. I think it's an amazing craft to be comfortable in this world of invention. But also there's something deliriously exciting about, a discovery. What if you're discovered, and what if you get to be a starlet, and you get these portraits taken of you on the red carpet. I think that this is a way to explore it without necessarily living it, sure. All right, so this was supposed to be a performance that no one ended up actually getting in the right way. Basically, I was invited to be part of a group show in Chelsea, so I hired a bunch of friends to act as paparazzi, and I laid out like a red carpet going from the gallery to the street, and like set it up with velvet ropes and everything. And at the night of the performance, I show up in a white limo. I get out of this white limo all dressed up, and all my friends acting as paparazzi like took pictures of me and yelled my name, and then I entered the gallery, and it was supposed to be like a happening, you know, and that was the piece. But people didn't really know what to do with it. It was a little more confusing because, I mean, half the people were like, why is this asshole showing up overdressed for an art event? Like, I pretended I was a movie star going to my own premiere.
Chelsey, can you one over here? Yeah. Can you remove your cape so
Who designed your dress?
Dolce & Gabbana.
Chelsey, another one.
Chelsey, give me another shot.
over here, darling.
Nice mouth.
One more.
Yeah,
One
beautiful,
more.
Chelsey. You really look nice.
It's not that I have a disdain for painting, because it's what I do and what I love to do, and I can't not paint. The whole point of contemporary art is to constantly provoke questions, and we're always redefining what art is now. And so painting seems like a little retrograde in the sense it doesn't push boundaries of what art is. It already is art. It's been established. So that's been sort of, I guess, a philosophical dilemma for me. But then again, it's what I do, and I have to do it, and it's my medium, you know, so you just invent new ways of using it. I don't know. There's also this sort of like emotional aspect to it that that you realize that you're part of this great tradition. Like, I can't even go to a museum with other people. This is embarrassing, but because I end up like crying in front of a Vermeer or something, because you realize there's something incredibly tragic about the fact that this painting still exists, and it exists to denote the passage of time. And so we have this sense of loss when we think of ourselves in the context of the history of painting. These people pass, but these works endure, and there's something just terribly tragic about that, but also really, really amazing. And I think that's why I paint. It's our place in time. It's how things endure. I don't pretend that I'm dealing with these huge world issues. I don't know that I am equipped with the capabilities to do that, or maybe the insight even. And I think that that's something that, you know, that's a great aspiration, but it's lofty for me. I think that what I can do is only paint to confront my own desires and to sort of locate myself within the here and now, and within the world here. I don't pretend that I hope to depict the human condition. This is one aspect of it, sure, but I don't necessarily feel comfortable being a historical commentator on life and death. So maybe there's a place for both of those in its own important way, or small way, I don't know. Yeah, I used investment firms and credit card logos, so my corporate logos for the Step and Repeat behind here, because I guess it's to acknowledge sort of change in how I thought of art and how people collect art and view art. I mean, you realize how much art is sort of viewed as a commodity, a tradable commodity these days. And for example, you see an artist like Marlene Dumas. She's like, you know, one of the most famous living female painters, and her art recently in the last couple of years literally jumped from $50,000 to like $2 million now, which is people read that and they see that she's a person to start collecting, and not because they love her necessarily, maybe they do, but because she's something that's going to appreciate and value, or her work is. I should be so lucky as to reach that level of appreciation, I guess, but I can only imagine if it did happen, would that make me happy, or would I be disappointed that my collectors are not having a real connection to my work? I think it would be really naive not to have an understanding of the commercial aspect of art if you're going to be an artist. At the same time, it's sort of sad. It's sort of I don't know. It's sort of sad to me.